Hi guys, today's video you'll be learning how to make this beautiful stylish dress. It is very easy to make. This style consumed a lot of fabric. I used 6 yards of African print to make this style and I consumed the whole 6 yards. You can also use 4 yards to make this style. The first sample that I made, I used 4 yards. But note that the gathers on the waistline and the shoulder line won't be really full if you use 4 yards. And aside African print, you can use crepe material to make this style. It will be very beautiful because the materials will be shaking. Then you can also use cotton material to make this style. If you are using a crepe material, depending on your size, you can buy either 4.5 yards or 5 yards. So without further ado, let's move right to the tutorial. This tutorial is lengthy. I'm going to fast forward it. Please watch and listen carefully so that you will grab every details. I'm going to be drafting my upper bodice on a pattern paper. Firstly, I rule my starting line. Next, I measured from my shoulder down to my under bust, which is 15.5 inches. Then I added half inch to it. I marked 16 inches. The half inch is what I will use to join the upper bodice and the lower bodice together later on. Next, I impute my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 8.5 inches. I measured my armhole depth, 9 inches for my armhole depth. I ruled that into a straight line. Next, I impute my bust measurement divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches. Half inch is for ease allowance, 1 inch is for side seam allowance. On the 16 inches mark, I impute my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches. I connect from the chest line to the waistline. I curve the armhole. Next, from the shoulder, I measure down 5.5 inches. I rule a straight line across to the armhole line. After that, I cut it out. Next, you will measure your upper chest. This part of the mannequin that I'm showing you, measure it on your body. This is it on my own body. Measure yours this way. Whatever you have, you are going to divide it by 2. Mine is 13 inches. Divided by 2 is 6.5. I'm going to measure that 6.5. Then I'm going to redraw my armhole shape to meet the 6.5. Then I'll cut it out. So this is the front bodice. I'm going to place this on another paper to cut the back. I'll first of all cut exactly this shape out. From the center back, I will measure 1.5 inches upward and slant it to the side. This will help to reduce the length of the opening at the back. The first one that I made, I did not measure this 1.5 inches. I noticed that the opening was too much and I want to wear inner tights to it, and I don't want it to be showing at the back. That's why I measured this. Next, I measured 1.5 inches inward. This is for the opening of the back. Then from the 1.5 inches, I slant it to the lower parts and I cut it out. This is the opening of the back. So when you open it up, you are going to have two pieces. That's the front and this is the back bodice. Next, I'm going to fold my fabric and place this pattern on it to cut it out. So this is the fabric I'll be using. It is 6 yards of Ankara fabric. I'm going to fold it into two. So after folding into two, I'm going to first of all place the front pattern on it. I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to be cutting two of this pattern. I'll be using one as lining to turn the other. Instead of me to cut lining, I'm going to use the fabric as lining. The reason why I want to double the fabric is because I won't be wearing a bra with this dress, and I want in a situation whereby my bust in front, my nipple won't be showing. It won't be really obvious that I don't have a bra on because I've doubled the fabric. I added 1/2 inch at the upper part. That's the only part I added seam allowance. The rest of the body I cut exactly the shape. So I'm going to cut another. The second one is going to serve as lining. I will cut the exact shape out. Next is to cut the back bodies. I'll be repeating the same thing for the back bodies. I'll be cutting the same fabric as lining for the back. So I'm going to be turning the back bodies with the corresponding side. I'll pin them together On the armhole area, I'm going to sew 1/2 inch, notch and top stitch. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side as well. I'll sew 1/2 inch, notch and top stitch. I will repeat the same thing on the front bodies. I'm going to place the 2 fabrics right side facing each other. I'm going to use one as lining to turn the other. I'll start sewing from the armhole. I'll sew 1/2 inch to the neckline and to the other side of the armhole. After that, I will notch and top stitch. After top stitching, I will give it a good press. At this point, I've sewn and given it a good press. So this is how it looks after sewing. You are going to overlock all the edges. The parts that you did not sew, you are going to overlock all the edges. Next, place your fabric on fold this way. Remember that I measured from my shoulder down to 16 inches for my half length. So whatever your own is, you will measure it and add extra 1 inch to it. So the length that I measured is 17 inches and the width is 5 inches. I'm going to measure this in 2 places. This is for the straps. The length is 17 inches, the width is 5 inches. It is on fold. I'm going to cut it out. Whatever your shoulder to your half length is, impute it and add extra 1 inch to it. This is for my straps. So you are going to place it on fold and give it a good press. When you place it on fold, give it a good press, then the opening, the edge, overlock it. You overlock the edge and set it aside. Next, I'm going to cut fabric for the pleating that is going to be at the shoulder. Because I have 6 yards, I decided to fold the pleats. But if you are not using up to 6 yards, just like what I'm showing you, this is the one that I used with 4 yards. This is a single pleat. I did not place it on fold. If you are using 4 yards, you will need to measure 5 inches. But if you are using 6 yards of fabric, if you want to place the pleating on fold, you will measure 10 inches. I measured 10 inches for mine and I measured the 10 inches in 4 places. 10 inches in 4 places. And the fabric is on fold. I also measured the 10 inches at the upper part. After that, I rolled that into a straight line and cut it out. I'm going to place 2 strips together. I'll stitch it down to have a very long strip. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the remaining 2. I'll place right side facing each other. I'll stitch it down. I'm going to have a very long strips. At the end of the day, I'm going to have 2 long strips after stitching them together. Next, I'm cutting 5 inches into 2 places. This is for the belt that I'm going to tie at the back of the dress. I measured 5 inches in 2 places. This is for the belt. I'm going to fold it into two. The normal way we normally sew the belt, I'll sew it 1/2 inch and turn it inside out and give it a good press. So out of the 6 yards, this is what I have left out of the 6 yards of Ankara. And I also want pockets to be on the dress. So I cut out fabric for the pockets. Then I use the remaining one for the lower part, for the skirt part that I will attach to the half length. I cut out the amount of fabric that I will be needing for the pockets. Then I cut out the pockets and I set it aside. After cutting the pocket, this is what I have left. I'm going to split it into two. One will serve for the front bodice and the other will serve for the back bodice. After splitting the fabric into two, I fold it over again, making it into 4. I notch the center back and center front. Then I marked where I want the pocket to start from. I measured 2.5 inches downward from the edge. I notch it. So that is where I'm going to start fixing my pockets. Next, before fixing my pocket, I will take to the sewing machine. I'm going to sew loose stitches at the edge. I will gather it. After gathering it, then I will fix the pockets. You are going to see the sewing process. The long strips that I cut out 10 inches into 4 places, I've joined 2 pieces together. As you can see, I have one long strip. I'm going to fold it into 2 this way. I'll repeat the same thing on the second one. I'll fold it into 2. This is absolutely optional. I want to trim the edge. I want to reduce the width at the lower parts. This is absolutely optional. From the other edge, I measured about 17 inches upward. Then I reduce from the folded edge. I measure about 2 inches. I reduce and slant it to the 17 inches and cut it out. Please note, this is absolutely optional. Next, I'm going to take the front bodice. Make sure that you iron the folded edge to have crease line. So from the crease line, that is the center front, on one side I measured 4 inches, on the other I measured 4 inches. The total width is 8 inches. The 4 inches on both sides, you are going to measure it to the half length. It's going to serve as a guideline to know where to place the strap when sewing the strap to the bodice. The long strip that I measured 16 inches plus 1 inch, making 17 inches. Remember that I told you guys to fold it and give it a good press. The opening part of it, you will overlock it. At this point, you must have overlocked all the necessary parts. The parts that we did not sew on the front bodice and back bodice, the upper part, you must have overlocked all the edges. So you place this long strip, the part that you overlock, you place it to the center back the edge, that is the slanted part, you will stitch it down this way. Just watch this part carefully. On the other edge, you place the long strap on the 4 inches mark. This time around, you are sewing the folded edge. You are placing the folded edge of the strap on the 4 inches mark. Then you would top stitch, starting from the lower part to the upper part. Just watch. Pin it down first. As you can see, you place it on the 4 inches mark on one side, then top stitch the folded edge to the bodice. You will repeat the same thing on the other side. As you can see, it is the folded edge that she top stitch to the bodice on the 4 inches mark. So you repeat the same thing on the other side. You will take the second strap, you will sew the overlock part to the center back. Then the other side, you will place it on the 4 inches mark on the other side and top stitch the folded edge on the bodice. You see why I said we should mark the 4 inches straight to the hem line from the beginning to the end. That mark serves as a guideline for us to place that strap on a straight line. So after pinning, we are going to top stitch, starting from the neckline to the waist. So this is how it looks. After that, you will take to your ironing table and give it a good press. Next, you are going to take the other long strip, the one of 10 inches width. Remember, it is placed on fold, and the opening part, I overlock the edge. So I sew gather stitches. You will turn your stitch line to the longest to sew loose stitches on both strip. After that, you are going to pull the thread to form gathers. Just watch it. Before sewing the loose stitches, make sure that you place it on fold and notch the midpoint of this long strip. Before sewing the gathers, make sure that you notch the midpoint. The bodice also, you are going to fold it together to notch the midpoint of the shoulder. Fold the bodice together this way, notch the midpoint of the shoulder. This is going to serve as guideline when you are sewing the gathers to the shoulder. So after pulling your thread to form gathers, Next is to stitch it down. So you will stitch it down to the overlock part of the strap. Place it this way and stitch it down. You are going to locate the notch part on the shoulder and on the strap. Locate it and pin it down. Pin the two notches together so that you'll be able to spread the gathers evenly. At this point, you will take your time to arrange the gathers. The ruffles, you arrange it properly and stitch it down. Just watch. You will repeat the same thing on the other side. After sewing, you will take to the ironing table and give it a good press. So after sewing, you will take it to your ironing table and give it a good press. This is the skirt part that will be attached to the half length. So we are sewing loose stitches to form gathers. After that, we are going to sew the pockets to the skirt part first before we will now finally attach it to the half length. After sewing the loose stitches, you are going to pull the thread. As you pull, it will form gathers. You pull the other side as well. As you pull, it will be forming gathers. Make sure that you spread the gathers evenly. After that, you are going to repeat the same thing on the other side as well. Just hold the thread and pull the fabric. It will form gathers. The other side as well. Hold the thread and pull the fabric gently. After that, you are going to stitch the pockets. Place the pockets to the notch part of the skirt, to where we notch for our starting of the pocket. Sew the pocket right side facing, then top stitch. We are going to sew the pockets on both the front bodice and the back bodice. I believe you guys know how to sew pockets. After sewing the pockets, you are going to attach the skirt part to the half length. Remember that we notch the center of the skirt, so you are going to notch the center of the front bodies, then place the two notches together and sew the skirt to the half length. Please note, you are going to pull the gathers to the half length measurement. So now she's placing the skirt to the half length, right side facing each other. So the gathers is going to be the same measurement with the half length. You place it and stitch it down. You are going to repeat the same thing on the back bodice as well. You will repeat the same thing on the back bodies. After that, you will sew the sides, hem the down part, give it a good press, and that's about it, guys, for today's tutorial. For the back bodies, this is how to place the belt. After you must have turned your belt inside out, you overlock the edge, you place the belt this way. So this is how the belt is. I decided to show us on the mannequin. Then the two back bodies, you will overlap each other with about ½ inch. You will overlap the edge of the back bodies, overlap it with about ½ inch. Then you will now sew the skirt part to it. So for the belt, I decided to show the up close of the belt. So this is how it is. Just place it and stitch it down. Then you will tie it at the back. We've come to the end of today's tutorial, guys. If you find my tutorial helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below if you've not done so. I upload weekly tutorial on my channel. Also remember to click the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified. Until I come your way, please stay safe and remain blessed. Thanks for watching. I love you all. Bye for now.